Everything's good with you? Oh, we're
All right,
recording now.
yeah. Welcome to another edition of Mic Checka. I have a family member here with me, like real, like this is, this is like family,
Way back.
way back. We call her J Covington. She's my homie, but she's a life coach now. She changed you how to get your life right. And it makes so much sense if you know her to know that this would be her career path because she was always keeping everybody in check of how their life needed to be. I'm like, girl, you shouldn't be doing that. Why? No.
I try to have a more consensual approach now where it's like you could come to me if you would like some
Oh
support.
no. The use is like you were just putting the hand on my shoulder, like, why are you? What did the girl deserve that?
That's the other show. We're not gonna talk
Right,
about
right.
that. Oh
Life
man.
coach. She has a podcast. You're doing everything. The pride of Mizzou, the pride of
Oh.
Ladue, Horton Watkins High School, the proud representative of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. My homie. I mean, I genuinely love this woman, like for real, for real. Y'all understand like how honored I am to have her on the podcast. We also went out to eat with me some random spot in San Francisco. I just went on Uber, rolled out, and it was across the street from the strip club that I got kicked out of. That I told you about when I was in San Francisco in a former life.
Right. I was thinking too, we had caught a bite to eat. I feel like it was in Vegas because we were at a CNN center.
Okay, let's hold on. Let me introduce Jennifer Covington is here on the podcast.
Thank you for having
me.
No,
remember what the Vegas? We were both out there for like 3 weeks. Remember, we were both basically our jobs had us living out there for like a few weeks. We went out every night at one point, like because that's when the Cardinals were in the playoffs.
That's right. That was so. Do not stay long term in Vegas. You should not be there for weeks. That was
we were there for like 3 weeks because you were working for AB, I was working for the NHRA, like, and we were out every night.
Every night, not knowing when the sun was up or
down. No.
Crazy.
Did we go together to the House of Blues for a party?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, because you had an event on the top floor of. Yeah, we were in Mandalay Bay
sponsoring it. Oh, for sure. Yes. Your recall all the time.
It was in Mandalay Bay. I'll never forget. I'll never forget. And then you end up going to LA. But let's start from the beginning.
We met up at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in LA.
Yeah, we did. Because, and you know what's so funny about that? That was the first time I learned about, and this is how old we are, y'all. So when your sister was telling me that you can be a treatment writer for reality shows. This is how long. This is like 2004. Remember, it was me and your sister went to Roscoe's.
Oh wow! Because I was just asking her about that. Someone was like, "I need to do a treatment." I was like, "I only know what that is because of my sister," and I was just asking her about that. So that's
but I didn't know it was treatments for a reality show.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean now people know that, but this is 2004.
No, she's like, it's unscripted, but there's still a treatment, and you're like, "Well, I'll be."
We was at Roscoe's, and I was like, my mind was blown from then. I was like, really? And it changed my whole aspect of reality shows. It was already jaded, but it was like, okay, so there's a treatment. So somebody comes in saying these are our goals here. For the show.
Right.
So let's start off from the beginning. Were you born in St. Louis?
Yeah, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri.
No, I mean, I never knew that. I never knew if you were.
You never know. Yeah. No. I was just thinking, born and raised St. Louis and Creve Coeur.
Where I currently reside.
Oh yeah, you're in Creve Coeur? I don't know if I knew that.
I'm right down the street from your house, your old house.
People still be sending me pictures of that house. Like, I just passed by your house.
Because your house had the cul-de-sac in it too.
Yeah.
So that's why it was like an easy spot to meet at because it was like nobody's gonna come down the street.
Oh gosh. Right. So born and raised in Missouri, and went to school, grade school, junior high, high school, then college, went to Mizzou. So that was all Missouri, and then got my first job well, basically, I went to LA and then I had interviewed with Anheuser-Busch because St. Louis. And they were like, "You're hired. You just need to be by an airport." I was like, "Good, because I'm in LA now." And so that worked because it was the job traveled a lot. So from there, I've been in California, LA, did a little stop off in Ecuador, and then
Not a
to the
little
Bay.
stop off. It was like a 2 years, wasn't it?
Three, three
Okay,
years in
right.
Ecuador. Yeah, doing business development with
And
working youth and
and
single
it was
moms.
funny because we actually talked to what was it then? It was Skype.
Yeah, we did. I remember that. We were making shrimp by the beach. Yep. That was near the end of my time, but I totally remember that. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
I
I
mean, I feel like you had started your podcasting because I remember listening. I
yep, I
remember
had just
definitely tuning
started the
in.
podcast stuff. Yep, yep. And it was so
Yeah.
crazy. So do you remember what we all us met at?
If I were to guess, since you're putting me on the spot, as I know
Uh-huh.
you would, um, where did we meet? I want to say at a baseball game. I mean, not
No,
baseball, basketball game in
no,
U City.
no. It was the AYF diversity
Oh, the
coalition.
diversity training. That brought a lot rushing
It
back.
was you and Tweety. It was you, Tweety, and
Oh, shoot.
Jessica.
Probably Jessica.
Jessica. No, I
Maybe
met KK
KK?
after that. We know KK. I met her after that.
Okay.
Um, who's KK's cousin?
Oh, Zaria. Are we allowed to just like name drop? Do we need
I mean, it's not. I
names
mean,
to
it's not. I
listen?
mean, we're not talking about them bad. You
Oh,
know.
I know.
No. Yeah. Zaria was there. Um, and it was Chris Boughton. Is it Chris Boughton?
Oh, probably. Yeah, Chris Bowden. Uh-huh.
Yep. So that was like our sophomore year, junior year.
Oh, wow. It would have had to have been, I
I
want to
think it
say
was sophomore
sophomore,
year.
but yeah, but
Yeah,
maybe
man.
the
It was just like, man, like you're
September
always
rotation.
like I always say, like the two best people that I've met on this earth are you and Teddy Simpson.
What?
On this earth, you all are the two best people.
Oh, that's so
You all
sweet.
are the epitome. I feel, and I don't like to put pressure on both of y'all, but I mean, when I think like, yo, the best that humanity can be is y'all two.
Oh, well, what do I say to that? Thank you. I'm trying my best every day.
Yeah, I mean, your husband's cool too. I met your husband a couple of times. I don't know him that personally. Better give him that tag.
Yeah,
I can't
he's
do
a
that.
good one.
Yeah. I gotta interact with you more than 5 times. I gotta have a
Yeah, but I
rapport with
appreciate
you.
that he kind of got an honorable mention. Like you feel like you got a feeling about it. So I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I don't like to put this stamp on there. Like it's only two right now. So if a third person came out, I gotta really put my stamp on it.
You
You
got to
know.
open it up.
So yeah. So at
Yeah, and I've been
Mizzou,
thinking
you in
about that
LA.
too, how we did like diversity training back then, because people are talking about diversity and equity and inclusion.
We
It's
was
like
on
we
that in the
were,
'90s.
yeah, yeah.
Did you go to the field trip thing to
That camp?
Michigan?
No, I didn't do any of that.
You didn't do you didn't do Lake Minnewanka.
No,
That was wild. That
it
was
was,
wild.
I heard.
I got to a fight with the Vashon kids.
Oh no, why?
They stole my CD player.
Oh God, yeah, I
And
heard
then
a
tried
lot
to
of
engrave,
stories,
and I had my name engraved on it, like I had
as one
beat
does.
right, but then they tried to scratch it out, but
Oh
I engraved it with a
goodness.
knife,
So
and
they
I
weren't
was
gonna
like,
scratch it
yo,
out.
and he's like, no, this mine, cuz I'm like, yo, no, I ain't even trying to call them boys on you, man, because it's all white
Oh.
people here basically, and I don't want to be that black guy, but go
But
ahead.
you
He's
got
like,
the
man,
fight.
all right, man, you know what I'm saying, but I mean, dang. Never forget that. They never forget
Yeah, it was for a couple years. I never went though.
that.
I didn't do the trip. I didn't do the trip. But Jessica went, KK went, I think Zaria went.
Yeah,
We
no, it
went.
was fun. It was fun. I mean, it was a long bus ride, but it was fun. So
Yep.
LA,
And
you're in LA, you at AB. Didn't you end up going into TV for a second or doing something along those lines?
well, there was a stage in life where I was like, "Oh, I worked there. Oh, I did that," where it gets super foggy. But
Okay,
so
maybe
I
that's where I'm thinking about is around that time.
the closest I did to TV from what I could recall is PR. I did a little bit of PR. I was like helping a major PR woman and kind of being her PR hand. But other than that, not really. But there was so much when you were in LA, it was like being in the reality show where you're like, oh, that's that actor walking down the street, and oh, that's and so it was kind of just normal and natural, but I wasn't in the TV industry. I was definitely like sales, marketing, consulting all the time and just trying not to be in the corporate beast as I found. As I found, I was like, oh yeah, no.
So then you're there doing that, and how did you end up going to where'd you end up going? Not Peru,
Ecuador.
Ecuador. So how did that happen?
Well, so being in sales and marketing, I wanted to have the flexibility and be able to do whatever I wanted. But as it came, like our big weekends would be like Labor Day weekend. And, when everyone's like, we're going to the beach, that's when I would really have to work because those would be our bigger times. And so at some point I got to the place, I worked for big nonprofits, but it was the same thing, but just with smaller budgets. So we couldn't even like be balling for pretend like at AB, at least we
Which
didn't
one
have
was it
any
that you
work.
worked for? Because I remember I actually interviewed for the same job you had, but in the Midwest. I'm trying to remember what job it was though.
Halifax, St. Jude.
St.
I
Jude.
might
It was St.
remember
Jude.
that.
It was
Yeah.
St. Jude. Because
It was
remember I
a
hit you up
fundraising
about it.
arm.
Remember I hit you up
Yeah, I
about
do
it. Yeah.
remember that. I wouldn't have remembered that, but I totally do remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like they were expanding their like that role. And I live like right by a friend that at the time he represented Northern California. And now we're still friends from that chapter or whatever. So and I was like, oh yeah, Northern California. Now I know what that is because I didn't. And so at some point I was like, you know what, maybe I do just need an honest situation where I was doing consulting, but still. So I went what I now know is the belly of the beast. I went to Fox, and maybe that's what you're thinking when it TV. I was at like Fox and MGM on those studio lots.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like fluorescent lights. You're in a cube, it'd be dark when I woke up, dark when I went home, just sitting all day. It was miserable, but I thought it's what I wanted because I was like, well, at least I know I'll have my weekends. So that's when I start like, and that's when I got certified actually to do life coaching. And so I was like, what you think becomes, and like believe it to be, and what's the vision. So that's where I was really at. So I started like putting up my dreams like on the on the walls of my cube, and I was like, all right, what do I want to do? Also, fun fact, not that anyone cares, but this is also where I like discovered Lisa Nichols. But I do feel like she's really why, because she was writing a book, which, when you write your book, you should do this too. It was really interesting. But as she was writing it, she was doing like live calls. So you could like listen, she could get feedback. And I feel like she was doing vulnerability before it was like a buzzword, like vulnerability and authenticity. So she was going through it in these chapters, and you were like,
So I'm
whoa.
gonna pop up an old school
Oh my
picture of us.
gosh. So I was just believing what was possible. Aw, yeah, that's at Mizzou. That might have been. First of all, I know I don't own that top. I feel like that was probably my roommate's. Um, we're either at Lincoln or we're at just like Fire and Ice, is what I would
No,
say.
we were at Big 12.
What?
We were
What
at
is Big
KU.
12? That sounds familiar. Oh, wow.
We were at
That's
KU at Big 12.
crazy. I remember driving up there for that. I think it was my friend Nikki in Lincoln, I think.
That was sophomore year of college.
But I feel like I had that picture up in my room, like on a cork board. But
and
yeah,
that's
so
so
just
funny. That picture is so aged because of me with all the Rams gear on. Like, yo, I'm just gonna
right.
represent the whole time.
I love it. I love it. My mom had her living room decorated at the Rams when they left St. Louis. It was sad. Sad. We have not all fully recovered.
I haven't
But
recovered
yeah,
either.
so I like you repping. But that's basically how it's just. Oh, so in the Lisa book though, she at one point she was saying something like, just I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew I wanted to wear a suit, I wanted to travel, and I wanted to do XYZ. And that's how she came to do whatever. So I was like, all right, what are my things? And I was like, I want to use my head and my heart because I've had a lot of training since I've been in a lot of gigs. Being in Hollywood, I was like, okay, there's the humanitarian side and there's this like other super capitalistic side. So I was like, I want to use my head and my heart for good. I want to learn another language and I want to travel. And so that's basically how Peace Corps is how I came to be, where it was like, all right, these are the things I want to do. I also really, really, really wanted to come back knowing Spanish, but at that time, everyone was like, well, everybody wants that. So good luck. But it worked out. I was supposed to be going somewhere else, and
Where
through a
was you was
series of
going
events.
first?
I can't remember, or they didn't tell me. I just remember I was like on my way somewhere else, and then a spot opened up. When I try to like check back in on it, people have been like, "But how did you know?" Like even with you have like recruiters and stuff. They're like, "But how did you know you were supposed to go somewhere?" But I'm like, I feel like I got a letter or something. But and I was because that was my date to go was like 6 months out, and I was kind of doing a goodbye tour where I was like traveling. And I remember I was in Miami with Amber, Candace, and Megan, and I got my mom was like, "Can I open this letter because it's from the Peace Corps and it seems urgent?" And they were like, "If you could leave in 3 weeks, you could be going to Ecuador. You can go now." And I was like, "All I've got are parties planned." Or I was like, "I can go," because there was also like I got laid off in that time. It was like,
You
or
like
the
perfect.
funding, Yeah, I was like, okay. So it just was meant to be. But it was, I set the intention, I created the vision, I knew what I wanted. It wasn't like I could see the whole staircase. It's just like these are the things that I want. So that's how I went.
Oh
But
man, so you get out there, and then what was it about that experience that kind of shaped you into coming when you came back to
oh,
go doing the life coaching
yeah.
and doing that?
Right. So then I was certified, and I was able to use my business development just from some certifications I had, plus just like being in the business world. And I just got a taste of doing work that I loved and that was meaningful. So I was like, oh, I got to do, like, I can only do this. I definitely can't go back to the cube. So um, I just had also interfaced with, and I was getting in these groups, and as I deepened my learnings with coaching and business coaching at that point too, I was just in these groups of entrepreneurial women, and I was and other entrepreneurial women, a lot of them life coaches. And so as I learned how to build my life coaching business, a lot of them wanted help with that. So that's how I was like, oh, that's my niche, helping life coaches basically build their business. I help them with their life coaching, and then I also help them with the business side because some of them are so woo and heartfelt that they don't know how to do the other stuff. And also, I found that that group is who cares about the world too. So it was kind of like that's how I could spread my mission of just like doing good in the world. In short, so yeah, and
So
the
any
rest is
crazy
history.
stories from being in Ecuador? That's a being
Absolutely. You would be, I don't know. I don't want to say you'd be happy to know, but I know you have some crazy stories. But
from everywhere,
I
from everywhere. I mean,
you do. You definitely had a crazy story in LA that your album was gonna drop. You like I could drop an album next Thursday. You remember? So along those lines,
yeah,
listen, I
I'm,
was
I'm surprised you remember that.
I'll never forget it. I won't forget it on just like on my brother's side, but also like just how you were talking about it was so funny when I was like, this isn't funny at all, but that's how
So
you
I mean,
roll with
so the
stuff.
story she's talking about, I've actually never told this story.
That's why I was keeping it like,
Yeah, no, 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 no,
whatever.
no. So I was in LA hanging out, and we were
Why
with
were
a
you
whole bunch of
there?
girls, and it was me and a whole bunch of my coworkers,
Mm.
and the twins that I worked with that I managed, they got into a fight. We just got into a big melee. I'm beating up a
Were you on
guy on
Sunset?
the side of a car in my Stacy Adams. Remember those are Stacey Adams? My Stacey Adams all bloody. I stomped on him, and I came, and it's a melee. It's literally a melee. Like it's just stuff going over here, and I walk away, and somebody used a box cutter and slashed me in the back maybe like 5 or 6 times.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
and I didn't know it because it felt like it was sweat. Like I felt like I was
Yeah.
sweating from the energy of this altercation.
Yeah. That's what they say about
And
box cutters. Woo.
yeah, and then so somebody was slashing me while I was working with his boys, but somebody else goes like, "Yo, you bleeding?" I'm like, "Oh." Then it's like immediately, I'm like, "Oh, oh!" They trying to get
Oh,
me
for
like Pac
real.
in LA. Pac didn't even die in LA, but I just like they trying to get me like Pac. I'm about to drop an album after this, and then you already
So
been
not
drinking this stuff, so
funny.
your pores is messed up. I'm bleeding. I get back. And then so I get up
I cannot
to the
believe
front
that.
desk
Oh
at the
my God.
Hilton, and I'm like, hey, I need all your band-aids. And they're like, for what? I was like, for this. And I turned
You
around.
said, "Hey, I need all your band-aids." You are so wild.
So I was all,
Not
okay,
call any kind of medical situation. Hey, I'm gonna need all your
I
band-aids.
need
That's
all
gonna
your
be the new
band-aids.
quote.
Let me get all your band-aids. And so I ended up taping myself. I had those scars until I think they just started disappearing a couple of years ago.
Oh my God, decades. Yeah, I was like,
Decades.
you come to LA and do what? Because you're like, yeah, I'm here for work. We'll definitely link up. Like, of course. And then it's like, this is the story. Like,
Because did we
what?
go to Roscoe's right after that?
Yeah, we went to Roscoe's after that.
Yeah,
It
so
could have been a
that's
day
how
or two
quickly
after.
I was okay. That I was at Roscoe's like
Yeah,
the
you were okay talking about I gotta drop an album now. Like
I'm gonna drop
you
an
were so
album. I was
funny.
like, I might as
I was
well.
worried.
Yeah, I was. That's so that was that's what she's talking about with that story. But so in
Yes.
Ecuador, so like, what was that experience? I know because Ecuador has a lot of like Black
It was
Hispanic
pretty
people as well, right? In the diaspora.
yeah. Yep. I didn't know that, but yeah, they do. So yeah, I was on the coast. It's so Ecuador is the size of the state of Colorado for reference, which is
Okay.
crazy. And so you could like get on via bus like all around, it could be like a 10-hour bus ride, but still you can get
Why
everywhere.
is it
And they
because of the
have
mountain? Is it because of the terrain?
what that you could, it's just that small, I'm saying that you
No, I
could
mean
get
I'm saying how long
anywhere.
it takes for you said like 10-hour bus ride. Is it take that long
Oh,
because of the
yeah.
terrain of the country?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Because they have so much. So there's in the south, there's deserts, and all that kind of stuff, kind of like going into Peru. And then there's the Amazon, which is its own, like entity. And then there's the mountains, the Sierra Mountains, and then there's the coast, which is where I was, and that is where you'll find the most Afro Ecuadorians. So if I didn't say anything, I could look, I could kind of blend in because they're tall and my complexion, and so it was, features pretty similar, but in
Did
the
anybody try to
Sierras, the
test
folks
you
were like shorter.
like thinking you were from there, like how I used to
So
be when I was in New
I
York? They
think
Puerto Ricans and Dominicans would get mad. I had a lady cuss me out in Spanish because I didn't know Spanish in a Walmart in
thinking you
what?
should know it.
Yeah, because she thought I was Spanish.
Yeah, we were in some marginal, dangerous areas, like that's where the group I was working with was. So I was held up at even gunpoint like
What?
5 times.
5 times?
Yeah,
You grew up in St. Louis and then get set up in gunpoint 5 times.
exactly. I was like, okay. I kind of knew what it was, but yeah, I mean, at some point I got moved from my original post because it was like, this is happening a lot.
So what was
So
you
I
all's
got
goal? What
moved to
was
the
the
beach.
goal of being there? Like, what was it like? What was I guess the
For
project?
in my cohort, there were two groups. There was youth and families, and there was public health. And so some people were doing health stuff, and some people were doing development of different kinds. So I was doing business development and youth development, teaching like life skills and stuff like that. So my first group, who I adored and loved, we were building micro empresas, which are small businesses around their community. So of course I don't know, the joke or the way is like, oh, I'm gonna go help, but really it was like they're helping me grow,
Yeah.
like, or it was definitely an exchange, we call it intercambio, right? It's like there is a give and take, and so I'm lending some skills, but you can't speak the language, you don't know the area, they're protecting me, so the bond was so tight because it's like they raised me from being an infant in that world. It's like they taught me the language, they taught me the customs, so, and they were such powerful women. So they had the nerve to even think in this dangerous, poor neighborhood that they could build these businesses to help grow the economy of their business. So that's what I was helping them do. I was just helping them bring their vision to life. And so, like, they had a store, but then they had a cafeteria, but they wanted to be able to give free lunches in the cafeteria so everybody could eat. So we would be doing bookkeeping and making sure they're making enough money over here. So it was really cool. They had a beauty salon so that women could get done up so they could go in the city and get jobs. They had a nursery. So same thing, the kids could all go to the nursery so the women could go out and get work. So it was pretty powerful. It was like, oh, I'm not doing anything. These are visionaries and they're amazing. And then I also worked at an orphanage where I was helping the teens who didn't have family. Once they're 17, 18, they get emancipated and there wasn't a lot of opportunity for them. So it was business development by ways of livelihood, of just being able to see what is a need in the market and make money. And then also just with the younger kids doing, life skills and life development with them. So it was a just growing and learning so much, but it was also like keep your head on a swivel because
Yeah, because what
it was
years you were there from what 2010 to 13?
Yeah, something like that. I know I left in 2013, so whatever that is, it also gets blurry, but yeah.
Yeah, but because you came to one of my parties during like
Yeah, I
Thanksgiving
came
or
home
something.
sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Man,
That was
it's three
crazy.
years. So after that 3 year period, how did you end up in the Bay Area? Like, I mean, the Bay Area is like the,
There's this whole side love story going on,
go
and
ahead, you
so, but
might as well spit it.
basically,
You might as well spit. I was trying to walk you there.
it's like I'm here because my husband. He's like, what I'm not gonna do is live in LA, and I was like, uh, why? Because I just thought I was gonna go back home to LA where I'd spent my whole adult life, you know. And he's like, he's from the Bay. We met in San Diego though. He was living in San Diego, and that's where we met. But he's like, I'm hearing the Bay is, cool. He grew up in the Bay, and so he's like, let's check out Oakland. Like, I hear it's like cool, and we might
Because
have a good
did
time.
he
And I was
not
like,
do
I'll
Peace
give it a
Corps with
year.
you too?
He was there. Okay, so the side
That
story
was that was when I found
working
out about it.
out.
I was like, who is this dude in the picture of my girl?
Oh
I've
gosh.
never met him.
Well,
He hasn't went past the
yeah,
restrictions.
he hasn't. He went right around. When I was working for AB, I had a territory. I had the Southern California, so San Diego was included. So when I did an event, that's where I met him, and we became friends, which I recommend. Be friends first. And so through, ins and outs and friends more than friends complications, or like, are will they, won't they kind of stuff. But I was also like vision boarding my life. And so it was like, I could go here or I could stay. What's up? And we were unsure. So I was like, I'm out. I'm gonna go to the Peace Corps. And so we kind of were like long distance, but not official, I guess I would say. And so we actually had to say that our anniversary is when he got a one-way ticket to Ecuador, where it's like, let's do this together. So he got a sponsor, an organization to sponsor him basically. So he was doing websites and doing events. So he was basically working in Ecuador so that we could be in the same place together. So he wasn't in the Peace Corps. He says he's Peace Corps adjacent. So that's what it is, because they don't necessarily smile upon that. I did tell my program director, I was like, my boyfriend's here. He's not in the program, but he gets to be here if he's working and doing his thing. And so from that point and in that time, we were like, oh, we should maybe do life together. And so then it had to be a decision of like, where do we go? But before that, I mean, all my little Ecuadorian friends are so funny because when he was saying he was coming, I was like, I don't know, like he's just coming to visit, like I don't know who this is, but because I didn't know. You know how you all were in your 20s? It was touch
Yeah.
and go, and I just couldn't be putting my eggs in that basket
I
like
mean,
that.
and I get it. And then I know they were like, who is this dude showing up? And who is he gonna be? They were probably thinking he gonna be some stereotypical dude getting off the plane, eating a syrup sandwich, like somebody, I'm looking for J. Cub. Anybody seen J.
No, I
Cub?
mean, because
Habla
I'm in a
J. Cub.
community. It's so crazy. You're in a community, so they know. And I was telling people like, yeah, my sweetie, and that culture was so loving and love. So it was like, ooh, your love is coming, and I'm like, he's not my boyfriend, he's just a friend, and they're like, so
He got a
no, they
one-way
were
ticket. We together. I get a one-way ticket. We together.
because he came to visit a couple times, like his
Okay.
2-week vacation. But then once the one-way ticket happened, in hindsight, we're like, that's probably a good marker of when we're official. So that was January 26th.
So
Yeah.
you get to the Bay. Bay has got a lot going on. Like and especially when you moved to the Bay, it was
Yeah.
right when it was kind of really, really, really bubbling.
Yeah, Occupy had happened. I don't think I was home yet, but do you remember like Occupy, that
Yeah, like Occupy
whole
Wall Street and all
movement?
that.
Yeah. So that had just kind of like, I don't know, but that was the energy basically. But the Bay is perfect. Oakland is perfect, because it's like, I feel like LA was perfect in my 20s, and now this area is perfect for my grown life. So, it's just like cool family fun, but they're still like kicking it. And I don't know, there's always like a festival to be had. The weather is
They
great,
have tons of festivals.
diverse. Yeah, it's my speed for sure. So I like it. It's getting more and more expensive, so that's feeling crazy. And there is so much clashing due to people getting moved out, and that's not what you want, because what is rich about Oakland is who's here, already, or who's been here. So, and someone who's moved here, I respect that, too. Just like, don't let things shift so that it becomes something else. You want it to be Oakland, what Oakland was. So
Oakland,
yeah,
one of the
you're
most
reading the
blackest
vein.
cities in America.
Yeah. So this will always be home central, probably just home, but if we go elsewhere or travel or whatever, Oakland's definitely home base forever.
All
Yeah.
right. So
So I
then,
love it.
like coaching, so you get in like, how did it's perfect for you, but how did you, get into that as your
Well, and it's a
the
lot
next?
of it is out here, San Francisco and the Bay Area is very, very, there's a lot of that, because when I left for the Peace Corps, my website was like, what is life coaching? But then once I got back, I was like, oh, everybody knows and everybody's in it. It's like, got it. Okay. So, I mean, it just seemed, I mean, like you're saying, and also like I was talking about how I would hop, you know, trying to find my passion, trying to find what I'm good at. I just couldn't do stuff that I didn't love. And so this was the thing I could stick with. It's the thing that I like. It keeps you engaged. Also going full time in it, you coach like 20% of the time, but then you're building your business and you're the marketer and the janitor and the sales and the other 80% of the time. So it just keeps me engaged, and I get to meet people, get to talk to people, get to help people. Now I help people make money. So it's really fun and rewarding, and I feel like these days people need the encouragement. I feel like I haven't even been on my job that way, where I'm like, you need to do better. It's like you need to be the light because people are, because I'm like, well, I'm in bed, but yeah, I'm even feeling recalled to just like there's clients, but there's also just the bigger mission of like be the light, be the optimism, be the way maker for folks who resonate with you. So it's like, right, that's the point, that's the purpose part. So that's
So,
what I'm doing.
so with that, do you did you what did you see as one of the biggest components of people like hurdles for them, like starting a business or anything that you've like,
Oh my
where it's
gosh.
like, man, like if people could just get past this one hurdle, they could get to where, and that may not in business, whatever it may be.
Right. I would say a sense of worthiness is the biggest hurdle. There's like
Okay.
mindset, limiting beliefs, not feeling enough. I would put all that under the umbrella of worthiness, of just feeling like you have something to offer. Then, of course, people get really tripped up receiving money for what they have to offer, especially if they're good at it, or especially if it comes easy to them. But I want to pay you for the thing that comes easy to you. Like if it's easy for you to fly a plane, that's who I want. Like I want the thing that you're in your zone. So but people, you can have so much strategy, you can have the rules or the ways, but if you don't believe you're worthy, that's where people get stuck forever. And that comes up in everything we do, whether you're working in a job, and someone who you're mumbling under your breath because it's like they're not competent or they're not as good as I am at that. Why are they getting? But it's like, but you sit back because you don't feel worthy, or you don't feel like you know how to present that. So it comes up in everything, even our relationships. So we sabotage a good thing because we don't feel like we deserve it. But yeah, so that's that becomes my work. So I get to be a professional cheerleader basically for a lot of my job. And then I'm like, and here's a strategy on the side.
Have you had somebody who's like, man, I can't cheer you no more, man. You just
You can't share me.
no cheer. I can't cheer for you no more.
Oh,
you just not trying to really get to that next level in your
like
whatever path they're trying to go on.
I haven't had anyone. I have a pretty not stringent, but I have a way. You can't just be in my world or like get in my one-on-one and like you got to apply and stuff. But I mean, people do break my heart so sometimes, and I do. I mean, that's a lot of my work is like filling up my, capacity so that I can pour out because yeah, sometimes people take it out of you or it's like, man, this is a heavy lift. Some people are heavier lifts than others, but no one has tapped me out completely and I haven't had to fire anyone just yet. But it could be a lot. So I mean, during last year, that's why I was like, I need to come back myself because last year people were leaning on me hard, and that's what I was there for. But just needing support and to be able to be leaders in their own communities and everything that was going on with George Floyd, and most of my clients are Black women. It was a lot. I was like, say hi to my husband, serve my clients, go to bed. Hi to husband, serve my clients, go to bed. Because it was the whole thing. It took everything I had, and I wasn't like, I can't mess with you because you do too much, but it was just like, it's what's required of the moment and it's a lot. And I'm feeling it too. It was like therapists who had to take leave because they're like, I need therapy, but people were without their therapist. So they're like, listen, I'm going through it. So Yeah, it was a lot. We made it through though, and we're still going through, but we are evolved humans.
This is the new normal. I'm keep telling people.
I mean, it is. You see, I caught a cold just from trying to hang out with my mom this weekend. Like, oh gosh, going outside.
A shout out to Edie.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Shout out to Edie. I was like, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This hasn't happened in 15 months.
You gotta tell ourselves what's up too.
I will. Oh my god.
I know she'd be like, "You talking about the little guy that was causing all the problems?"
You weren't the only one. No, just kidding.
He made it. He made it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your podcast, your video podcast, and your audio podcast that you're working on.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention it because I'm like re-upping it. So it's called Shine On Sista, which has a comma and an exclamation point, which probably wasn't the best idea, but that's what it is. And yeah, I mean, I did it because there was a time where no one cared about people on the margins. And so I was doing it because that's part of it too, where, you know, I also would very much not want to be on camera, be just in the background. But again, there are Black women in my case that have paved the way where it's like, because they were visible to me, I believed in myself. So that's why I care to try to be that for others. And now I'm in these circles where there's brilliant folks, but they're not like the popular people online. So it's like, I could give them a platform, or, you know, I would love to interview them, or, you know, you go to conferences and you're like, that is so interesting. And so I just wanted to have a platform where I could celebrate people who like weren't popular, or usually, you know, before last year, I feel like there were people of color who never got represented. Mm-hmm. So that's why I had it, even though then I was feeling like, since it says Sista, is that bad? Am I like leaving people out? So I kind of took a hiatus. And
no.
And my first guest was a man.
Yeah, no, Sista. I mean, I go on there, Sista.
Yeah, you're gonna be a guest for sure. And it's like, that's the audience I have in mind, but that doesn't mean not everybody can listen. But it's just from my point of view. And it's like, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the niches and everything that people think that everybody wants to be main. Not saying in this case, I'm saying in general. People just like want to be mainstream, and mainstream is not necessarily it. If you can just get your people that kind of want to rock with you and they cultivate that community, that's all that matters. And maybe I sound like a backpack rapper that is like, I just need my 500 people at all my shows.
Yeah, 1,000 true fans.
Yeah, in every city. I just do 1,000. They call blue collar rappers. This is called a blue collar rapper.
I love it. That is so my vibe, actually. It's like, I don't want to be this big. I just didn't want to be causing harm. I was being very mindful of harm, you know.
As much shit as I talk, I can't be famous. What? I would cancel myself. I would cancel myself. Like if I got like a big deal, I would just delete everything I had of me online. Like you'd be like, oh, Dima's got a deal.
But really.
Yeah. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, no.
You told the plan.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now we know.
I already know the companies that go through the scrape your stuff. I do it for the gig. I ain't got no problems with it. Yeah. I already started previously going through my old tweets and stuff and kind of clean them up.
You did?
Yeah, I just think it was, especially in the beginning of Twitter, it was a wild thing. It was wild then.
Twitter is wild. I can't even imagine.
No, Twitter was worse then, I feel.
I can't. I wasn't there for the beginning, and I never really hopped on Twitter. So yeah, I can only imagine because it was so bad. Quick.
I mean, it would be like hashtags would just pop up like on random stuff. I know they do now, but like there was a big hashtag, the one I remember that I feel bad about now. It was one called Little Howard You Weak. And it was basically dissing Chingy.
Oh.
It became nationwide. It was just a St. Louis thing at first. And then I actually ended up meeting the brother. It was super cool. And I was like, dang, I need to go back and delete these Little Howard You Weak tweets.
I mean, if you could be bothered to go back and clean up your tweets when you know better, I don't have a problem with that. Because then when stuff pops up and it's like, you knew that was there, or like, you know, I just think that in this new cancel time, I feel like it's not a bad thing to be like, I'm a different person. Let me go back and see what I don't agree with, you know, because then it's like, because when we see it, it's like, how are you just gonna leave that there? Now I'm harmed,
yeah,
you know, or I'm let down. So
I'm sure there's other stuff I didn't forget about. I said, I know there's a program where you can just put slurs and just put it in there with your name and just find out how many times. I need to do that and see like how crazy I've been.
But what are your thoughts on that? Because we've had a lot of
Mhm.
heroes or just people where you're like, oh man, I mean, it's two questions really. Like, how do
Mhm.
you, where it's like the art and the artist, but then there's also that thing where people are like, I said that then, but I've grown. And it's like, how long do you hold them accountable to that kind of
I
stuff?
think it shows the work you've done. Like if you have to ask, you just can't say I grown. It has to be something
Yeah.
applicable that somebody can attain to. It'd be like
Yeah.
if I was like, F women, and then they'd be like, but man, that was a long time ago. I'm married with 5 kids. But if you haven't been like, yo, like up doing some uplifting, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
something that counted, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that dude grown. That was 10 years ago. Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't
It's like
say nothing about it.
reconciles it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like neutralizes it or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Where
have
you
to
could be like,
see
oh, he did grow.
change.
He said that then, but he hasn't, he didn't, said some other things after that. So, and then
So
most
you
things,
believe in growth.
oh, so one of the main things is like, yo, you ain't got to speak on every topic.
I know.
It is
I
free to
know.
be
I
quiet.
feel that pressure too. Yeah. Feel free to be quiet. But
Yeah,
it's also
no,
sometimes
free to
not
be
in your job
quiet because
description.
you know how many topics people email us about doing on the shows and stuff. I'm not touching some of these. I know some of the stuff I think is outlandish, maybe. So why even put myself in the position?
Or it's like we're gonna talk about this, not that. You don't have to
Yeah,
talk, you're like you said, you don't have to talk about everything. You don't have to touch every
you
topic.
don't have to,
So
and everybody think
you
they
so
have
you
to talk about it.
right. It feels that way. Or people are like, well, what are your thoughts on? It's like, I'm a Etsy blogger. Like you don't it's not your job description either. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm an
Because
Etsy
that's
blogger, and I don't need to talk about your feeling on George
it's like,
Floyd.
yeah, like just it's fine, especially if I hate it. So it's like it's okay. But
I wish
so you
everybody.
believe
I
in
wish white
growth.
people more had a black translator that would just like if you have good money, just have them walk around with you like a lawyer, like where you're in court or like by Congress and be like you get a question about George Floyd.
Consult.
Yeah, I think it's a horrible situation. Like you could just lean on them like for like stuff. Or maybe I start the program. You could just text me and I'm like, hey, they asked me
Yeah.
about George Floyd. What should I say? Oh, well, you need to
There's
say
like
this.
Google Translate and then there's Daryl Translate
Yes.
when it gets for the real situations.
The being like, do you want fans or do you want to stay kind of neutral or do you want to go this, I give you all three options.
Yeah.
Consulting company,
I love
a
it.
black,
I love
a
that.
black PR company for white people.
I like how you have multiple choice. Like, are you trying to blow it up or are you trying to
You want to
be
just be in
invited
general,
to dinner?
So, and this is something, I got my lightning round coming up for questions, but have you seen this Ozzy stuff that's happened?
No, Ozzy?
Yeah, not Ozzy Smith, because I know that's you probably even think about. No, not Ozzy Smith.
Wow.
The Ozzy, this media company, they basically raised 75 million and it's owned by black guy too. 75 million in Silicon Valley, but they were inflating all their stats. They even went into a meeting with Goldman
Mm.
Sachs, had the COO get on the phone, acting like he was a representative from YouTube. Like, yeah, I got my boy on the phone from YouTube with the meme will go,
And
and
so
then
now
all this
what?
other stuff can start coming out. It's called Ozzy Media, OZY Media, for other people.
Oh,
And people, everybody I talked about that's in the space, people like I never even heard of. Like I didn't either until this. I kind of heard about them, but it was interesting that they got that much money and people don't know about them for real. But then a part of me was
yeah.
like, I was glad this black man got the bag and ran. But then another part of me was like, dang, it's that old
You got to
adage of
use
like,
the
man, the
teeth.
first black man doing something like that, I got to do it right. But I can't hold
Yeah.
him in that. You know what I'm saying? My journey is my journey.
Yeah, it gets confusing when you're like, what do I make of that? But right. But that's, I mean, it's good that you believe in growth. So you don't feel like once there's a seed of like, ooh, you hate women, then that's like always there. Um, so then you
I
feel
mean,
like you
there's
can
some
grow. I
things you
think
can't
people
get
can
away
grow
from, like
too.
R. Kelly. You can't get away from that.
Well, okay,
I
but
don't
that's
know
different.
how
So
to.
that's the other question about art, the art and the artist. We are a struggle bus when it comes to R. Kelly
This
and
is
the
a hard.
art.
This is a hard question because there's some. I will be. There's some R. Kelly songs I cannot listen to.
Because of
I
the
can't
meaning.
because of yes, it's
Because you're like, now
someone.
I know what you're talking about.
But there's some other ones where it's like I'm conflicted because I still like it. I like this song "When We Ride" with Jay-Z, Noriega, and Cameron on. So I love that song. He's only
You
singing
just
the
sound
hook.
so sad. Oh my gosh.
And the best part is
when it
I'm
first,
talking, and it's not me talking to other people. This is me talking to myself, telling myself like,
oh, I
yo, it's
know.
on. He only sings the hook. Like you should be okay.
It's like your morning affirmations. It's just the hook. It's okay. No,
Exactly.
I know. Or like when it first came out, where you're like, all right, well, we got to be done. What was it like? Pause or mute. And then but then it's also like the songs are touchstones of different moments in your life where you're like, oh, this was homecoming, such and such and
Yep.
such,
Except
when
for
it
I
came
can't listen to
out.
Leah's
It was
first album
crazy.
anymore. Even it's hard for me to even like AJ number was my joint, and then you like this is
Oh
autobiographical.
no. Yeah, oh, it's real creepy. Yeah.
I can do back and
I
forth,
don't know.
and at your best, some of those, but
So
I'm
you're
picking
doing a
and choosing
sorting.
out the stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I can't. I'm throwing 90% of R. Kelly away, but there's a 10% of
Yeah.
songs I can't let go. Admittedly,
So funny.
you're not gonna hear them all the
I haven't,
time. I'm not gonna embarrass
yeah.
nobody in public. I'm not gonna ask for it at parties. It's just for me.
You're not coming up to the DJ.
No, I'm never doing that. But if it comes on in my home and I'm like cleaning up and I'm like, I'm gonna look around, keep it on.
Oh. It's hard though, right? I appreciate that response the most though. It's nuanced, it's not just a blanket because it's hard. It's like either you're lying or I don't know. I don't know. I haven't reconciled, but I haven't felt like I've had to in such a way yet. But I'll hear stuff songs and it's like, oh, are we allowed to play? Is that we're playing this? Okay.
I mean, you know what? And it's a thing of I realize there's no country for middle ground anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Like how you're saying, like this has meaning and now I know more and so I can't listen to that. But this is like that's my song and I don't see the harm necessarily.
I
And
mean,
I
I love
haven't
the
seen
song by
any of the
Black Men
stories
United.
though.
You will know. R. Kelly's on it.
Oh,
Am
I
I
love You
supposed to?
Will
I
Know.
love You Will Know. It's one of my most motivational
Eurasia?
songs.
Yeah, it's a good one. That is a good one.
Am I supposed to
Well,
throw away Maxwell Fortunate? R. Kelly wrote it. I love Fortunate.
oh, I haven't gotten into that.
That's what, but you see what I'm saying?
Oh,
No.
yeah. It's like his life force touched it. And were you not blessed by
And,
that?
look, and I'm not mad
I
at
don't
anybody
know.
that has a personal issue. I'm talking about for me. I'm not talking about for everybody else.
Yeah.
These are all
And
internal
and
discussions I have to have.
you do have to figure it out for yourself. I guess I haven't figured it out for myself. Because he's an example, but there's others.
Oh
And
yeah. I mean,
I haven't been able to bring myself to watch the like documentaries and stuff, which I feel
oh,
like
I
that's
was
what
watching
people
all
really
of them.
choose.
I watched every one of them.
I feel like that all came out in 2020 that I was like, I can't take much
2019.
more. Oh, it was
The first one
2019.
because it's you got the first set, Surviving R. Kelly, the first set, and then you got the second set that came out in 2020. But the first set is like 19, I think.
Mm. But and being in from St. Louis and having so much in Chicago, you also like have
Mm-hmm.
your own personal stories. Like
Yep.
I know we did.
Yeah.
Like if you went to
Yeah.
Rock and Roll McDonald's, or if your friends grew up in Chicago, like you have firsthand
Yeah. I mean, I know about and like
account.
I stopped messing with R. Kelly just on a general basis from the when the first thing when the sex tape came out, I was like, oh, this is not popping.
Oh, that's
Like,
right.
and it was,
Yeah.
but I still held on to When We Ride. I still like that song. And
Oh
I like the
gosh.
song
And it's
Crucial Conflict and R. Kelly.
oh,
Ghetto Queen.
love Crucial Conflict.
Crucial Conflict. I like this song from Chicago, man.
Oh gosh. So that's more complicated. That's more
It's a
nuanced. That's
complicated
good.
thing. But I get if someone doesn't want to listen. I'm not mad at them if they don't. It's
Yeah.
nuance. It's
I guess
nuance.
I guess where I land is I do if I could choose, I would want you to feel some conflict, I guess. I can't
I
I don't because I
do.
do feel a type of way too when it's like keep it going, like whatever,
And I
or
don't
the art
stream.
you have
So
to
I'm
separate the
old
artist.
school. I don't stream. I'm still old school. I
So you're
still have an
not adding
iPod.
to the
I still have an iPod. You know what I'm
oh
saying? So
God,
like,
and it's right there. I had
yeah.
an iPod for a long time, but
See, I don't stream.
yeah,
I
I
don't believe in
think
streaming services. I'm like an old man is like, yo, they gonna take my music.
yeah, I feel old too. Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that, where it's like you can't just be like, that's the artist, you can't have the artist be responsible for his art kind of thing. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's also, I get when songs have been a touchstone in your life where it's like, so.
I mean, because
yeah.
I mean, everybody has their own time for whatever is like whatever you like is what you like. Like I said, if you have a conflict with that, I'm fine with it. I'm conflicted on some stuff with it. I'm gonna look around when happy people come on, like.
Oh gosh, I haven't turned any on by, voluntarily, but yeah. I mean, there is a big part of my college time that R. Kelly was a
That
big
TP
part of it. And so,
2000.
oh my gosh. And Chocolate Factory, I feel
Yeah.
like, wasn't that what it's called?
Chocolate Factory, yeah.
Oh man.
But that was a part of
So,
our, I think so. That's it's just compliment. It's just compliment. It's like so.
but I was talking with my friend about just the R. Kelly specifically thing versus artists and artists, but like how, especially our ages that grew up, where we're like, it was akin to the like kind of grown girl in your junior high or high school who like had the 23-year-old boyfriend where you're like, and he would like bring her McDonald's and you're like, oh my God, and he had a car. Like, we didn't know about being a predator. We were just like, she's so grown, and it feels cool. It
Think
didn't
about in the
feel
movies like Clueless and stuff, where it was like a girl had the boyfriend that was in college, like, oh, he's in college.
right. It's like, oh, but then as you grow up, you're like, oh, that you tie it back, like that's what was going on.
Right.
Like, it's actually not great. And so knowing about R. Kelly outside of schools and being at Rock and Roll McDonald's, like it didn't register the same at a certain age that it does now also.
Yeah.
But
It's
it doesn't make it an excuse, but it's
yeah,
just,
no excuses for that man. He is where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just because people will ask, like, how did you not know? And we are like, how did we not know? Because we knew some stories. It's like, but it's like, oh, it's that.
But it was a thing of then. No, you know how many urban legends came out when we were kids about random stuff that somebody would be like, oh man, little Kim had to go get her stomach pumped, because of sperm in her body. I mean, so you got to think that that Aaliyah R. Kelly thing in a store younger is along those same lines in a lot of ways until you get the real proof, like, oh snap, there goes the certificate of marriage, like snap.
Right. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
like,
think about all the urban legends we heard about
really
somebody random.
About this stuff. Well, or was it urban? I mean, were they urban legends? Because you grow up and find out, like, oh, it was real and it was sinister.
Right, with that one. But I'm talking about like the little Kim ones and like other random stuff where it's just people just putting out random stuff about people. Yeah. So you saying you believe that little Kim had her stomach pumped?
I was like, did we verify it's an urban legend?
Oh, I just because they said it was like 1,000 pounds. It was some crazy like number, and it was like that's not even humanly possible.
I didn't give it a lot of thought, but when you said what you said, I was
you
like,
remember that though. You remember those rumors, right?
Instantly, yeah. You're like, she had to get her stomach pumped. I was like, oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I'm trying to think of other random ones. It'd be like, I mean, it'd just be anything, and that telephone game was the worst then.
Right. Because it was truly.
And they couldn't be dispelled. There'll be years. It's people right now that believe stuff from the 60s and 70s about somebody. Like, remember Marvin Gaye went to Baltimore? He was with my cousin, right? It was my cousin's friend's friend. They at the bar, right? Marvin go in there. He starts slapping everybody up in there. So everybody in Baltimore think he came up in there and slapped everybody up at some bar in Baltimore.
Those are the best stories at barbecues, though. You'd be like, your Uncle Willie is crazy and has lived a life.
And he'd be like, Willie, was you there? No, my boy's boy was there. We all work at UPS together.
Right. Totally. First hand accounts. You're like, listen.
Right.
I know.
Or it's the Polaroid, Jacob, or it's the Polaroid, like, yo, so this time I was with Keith Sweat, right?
Yeah.
Even though but Keith like Sweat don't know him from nobody.
Totally. That's what we grew up with.
That's what we grew up with. That's what we grew up. And now it's even worse, I mean, it's different. You can dispel rumors, I think, easier now than then.
Yeah, that's where receipts come in.
Yeah, and Marvin Gaye didn't even know about the story in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? Like that the guys from UPS was telling.
We don't even know. You don't even, they all work to UPS together. That is so accurate. But Yeah, but also you keep finding. I mean, we were watching Catfish, and we're like, are we being catfish? Like, do people still get catfish in this day and age?
Yo, I
But
love that show.
what you can,
I'm addicted to
I
Catfish.
love it so much. But talk about a treatment. You can definitely see like what the formula is. But I'm like, lie to me, I love it. You know, you're gonna meet up, but then suggest that you meet later, even though you're there talking. Why are you leaving? But it's fine. But
Like this whole time, you known it for 8 years, and y'all ain't met each other. But Catfish made it
it'd be
happen.
so long. But but what I can tell is like deceit. Like if you're trying to be deceitful, you can be. Or if you want to believe what you want, like there's, even though the social media kind of feels like it's leveled the field in some ways, there's also, if you want to be, people still have families on the other side of town. People, like, I don't know how,
I
but that's
think
not
that's harder. I think that's
it's
harder to happen.
harder,
I
but
think it's
people
almost
have it.
impossible.
Ooh, that's just
Brothers are
because I'm
getting
into a lot of
jammed up and
barbecues.
from DMs every day. Like it ain't like this ain't like back in the
And the
day.
cloud. I do know people, the cloud has played a lot of people like crossing accounts.
Yeah, think about it. Back in the day, Willie Earl would be down at the juke joint. Somebody would have to call and be like, Janice, Willie Earl's down here at the juke joint on another woman. She would have to go down there to confront that. Now Willie Earl is all the way in London and somebody called him.
Yeah, it's true. Oh no, somebody else is just like a TikTok star, and then he's
Yeah.
in the background, like eagle
Like, is that
eyed.
Willie Earl? Like, that's what I'm saying. Cats is getting jammed up. Now it's easier to
You
do
can be
what
smarter.
thing, but you
I
easier
know
to
of
get
some
jammed
stories.
up in whatever you're doing,
I
whatever
know.
illegal.
I
If
don't
you're
know how
being
people
illegal,
ever have
period,
families.
it's not worth it in 2021. Trust me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Your digital footprint is everywhere.
It is, but there's these apps that look like this, but they're really that. Even though those get hacked, but people are using them until they're that. What was it? Not Stacey Madison, somebody Madison.
Ashley Madison.
Ashley Madison, where all they cared about was not getting found out, and then that got hacked. But people wanted to use it to not get found out, and whatever was going on, all up in there was going on. You know what I mean?
But my thing is, if it is easy to catch somebody, because they just sign up for Ashley Madison and find your profile, like.
That's true. I never got how that could work. I used to remember seeing those billboards in LA, and I was like, is that what I think it is?
They used to advertise on podcasts a lot early in podcast time. They were big people promoting on.
They were the Audible.
Yep. They were big. They were really pushing it out. Are they still like this?
I don't know. Probably under another name if they're smart. But they got hacked. Their cloud got dipped into, which is the worst scenario.
All right, this is my lightning round. My lightning round of questions. It's this or that. You only have
no
choices. All right.
Would be like Cheetos, puffy or crunchy?
Somewhat. Would you rather go to jail for 5 years or stay in a coma for 10?
Oh, probably jail.
Really?
Because
have you met the tossed salad man before? Have you met Fleece Johnson?
Who is that? Is that the guy that they parodied on Boondocks?
Yes, the booty warrior.
God, I was like, as long as it's not him. Yes. Even though men need to be afraid of him.
So okay, so you understand when I answered, I say coma.
You said coma because and even coming back from Ecuador is kind of like this. Like people were you missed so many years and you just missed it. Like with jail, even though it sounds awful, you're still living and experiencing. You could grow, like things could come out of that.
Ashley Madison still exists for the record. The website still exists
under that name. Okay. I wonder how they're doing. Like, what's their stock looking like? Their IP.
They're not publicly traded. But go ahead, continue.
So that was the thought. I feel like it would be hard, and I'm definitely not feeling like I'm cut out for it. But it just was like life experience versus no life experience. Like you haven't experienced anything. No one has written you a letter. Like you don't know what's happened in people's lives versus there's growth. You can drop an album. You can write a book. Like you would have experienced things and grown.
Drop me off 10 years later. I'll catch up with everybody. We'll have a party for me going in, a party when I wake up.
It's not a party going in. You're in a coma. We didn't know.
But I'm pre-choosing it, right? I'm pre-choosing. So I'm either going 5 years in jail or 10 years in a coma.
I know we got to pre-choose, but yeah, I still feel like, your
Kind of like
muscles
Demolition Man. Have you ever seen the movie Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes and
Kinda.
Stallone, where they put him in cryogenic freezing for jail? Do that for me.
Yeah. I'm probably more cut out for a coma. But I don't.
I can see you locked up in no jail and doing Orange is the New Black.
And you didn't say like what kind of jail, so it could just be, I don't know.
But you don't know what type of jail you're gonna go to when you go to jail.
But even like they say solitary confinement, is the worst. But I might want to just be by myself.
They say you go crazy in solitary confinement, I think, after 3 weeks.
Yeah. It's quick and it's across the board. Or like probably you human. If you're just wired like a normal human, it's not gonna be good for you. So
right.
it's hard
Next
to
question.
Know.
Erykah Badu or Jill Scott?
For what?
Whatever you want it to be.
No, there's no choosing. Didn't you see their verses? They weren't verses.
No, you just choose. It's not I don't know what your parameters are.
What do you choose?
This is just me questioning you.
You said coma, but you said
coma. Well, no. I just said that just because I'm just always surprised that people have been saying jail. I was like, man, okay, I'm choosing coma. I was just giving you that one as just a freebie because I'm just surprised.
As a freebie.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I think for history's sake, if I had to choose and you're evil, I would go with Erykah.
Okay.
We go further back, and there would be no Jill moment for me if there wasn't an Erykah era for me.
All right, The Cosby Show or Different World?
Different World.
Okay. Okay. All right, Martin or The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Fresh Prince.
Okay.
Why are you pausing like that?
Because you were shaking your head fast when I said Martin. You'd already said no.
I was like, no. Because he did Gina wrong. Tisha Campbell. That's why I was like, it's personal.
and I was so much of a Martin fan, I blamed Gina for like 7 years.
Everything.
Until I really understood what happened. Like, oh, that was okay.
30.
That was one of those things where I was in the wrong, where somebody saw my tweets when I was that young, would be like,
you'd be like, F Gina, hashtag Gina goes to hell. Like, oh,
yep. Then you figure out what's really happening.
But yeah, but I guess I'd go with Fresh Prince.
All right, Family Matters or Different Strokes?
Family Matters. Oh, Different Strokes. Wait. That's what you're talking about, Willis?
Yep.
Oh, I just used to love Family Matters so much because I was older and was watching TV then. I think I've watched more Family Matters, even though I feel like that's not as cool as Different Strokes.
Okay.
But I was younger when I was watching Different Strokes. I should go back and watch Different Strokes, actually.
All right. Emo's Pizza or...
Why are you doing this?
Emo's Pizza or London and Sons?
Emo's.
Okay. You're not rocking with the black folks. It's all good.
What do you mean? Oh, is that...
You never had London and Sons before?
I have, but I didn't think of it like that.
It's black owned.
Deep in the fabric, but I didn't know that.
You didn't know London and Sons was black owned? You think in London and Sons, the way the locations to tell you all that.
I know, but in the time that I would have been having it, I wasn't thinking that. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Will Smith or Denzel Washington? I
didn't know that Emo's wasn't black owned. How about that?
Emo's isn't black owned? What are you talking about?
I mean, I didn't. It's just since it was so like rooted in St. Louis.
No, that's not black owned. Will Smith or Denzel Washington?
Denzel.
Okay.
Well, I want to know what these okays mean.
No, I do that there's no judgment.
I want to know what you think.
It's a hard question. All right. Okay. Angela Bassett.
I was like, let me look up Emo's Pizza's owners. I didn't have it. I wasn't clocking it in the 80s like that. You know what I mean?
Hold on, hold on. All right. No, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it.
You're coming up with these off the cuff?
No. I
You're not
got a
even
list. I
thinking
got a
about
list
this
of them. I move
later?
them around. I'm trying to think which one I want to go next. I'm trying to
Just
trip
do
you up.
both.
Okay. All right.
You
So
do?
this is a triple threat match. New Jack City, Boys in the Hood, or Menace to Society.
Boys in the Hood for sure.
Okay. Representing John Singleton.
I feel like I was changed. I was different after watching it.
Yeah, a lot of people that changed the film game in general, period.
Yeah.
All right. So this one's gonna be this one. I know you are. This is deep in your heart. I don't know if you remember this. Lauryn Hill.
Yes.
Or Anita Baker.
Oh God. Oh wow. For what? Oh man. Let me close out these emo people that no one's black. You have black friends. I mean, I think I have a lot of respect for Anita, but for personally ushering me through, it has to be. Oh yeah, it has to be Lauryn.
Yeah, because I'm gonna let everybody know. She used to get into my car and we used to go hang out and just hijack it and play that CD to death.
The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, I thought I was never gonna stop listening to.
I've heard Zion I literally have heard that song more than I've not listened to that again since we all went to college.
Oh gosh, that was the time I was like this. So
like that Lauryn, man, you
thanks for letting me play it.
Yeah, you'd be like, can I play Lauryn Hill? I'm like, I'm playing Fat Joe right now.
Who won?
All right. Would you rather lose your vision or your hearing?
Oh God. Hearing.
Okay.
I know sign language. And yeah, I think about that, anytime it's like blurry, it would be hard to navigate, I feel. So
okay, so would you rather have no arms or no legs?
I feel like now you're not even looking at your sheet.
No.
Two extra.
But would you rather be no arms and no legs?
No legs. I think no arms is what I would go with.
No legs or no arms?
No arms is what I would
go with. So you don't want to get nowhere. I mean, you don't want to high five nobody, no love or nothing.
No. No, I mean, I just feel like you can get up and like go, and I mean, you could do anything with you've seen the Olympics, and people can do anything with any, and you can always get prosthetic. But my legs are stronger than my upper body, so that's why I went with that. Like I can maneuver if I got my legs, and I like pick stuff up with my toes as it is anyway. So I just feel more dexterous in that with that situation.
All right. Would you have rather have cheered for football games or basketball games when you were a little?
Football.
Because you didn't cheer for basketball, right?
Yeah, I did both.
You did both? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we almost had to jump that dude from your school?
No, what?
Oh, you do remember this? Yes, you do, because it was.
Do you remember we had to jump that dude at your school? Where?
It was at your school. We came up there deep. Remember? Because we played Jacob's school our senior year in football, and we shut y'all out.
I was like, what were the chances?
And no, because they said they was gonna beat up my boy because he was on the football team and he's playing, and we was like, that ain't gonna happen.
I wasn't involved.
Yes, you were.
I was cheering, probably conflicted.
Yes, I know. It was hard. It was hard for you,
But football was better, like outside, the band's playing. It was like a moment. I used to love that. I used to love that so much, the football uh, games, like there's a concession stand, people would come. That was like, I love that.
So
So,
my last would you rather, this is going to be a funny one. So be prepared. Would you rather go to a formal dance or
okay.
go to a formal festival, like where you can you going to like a big grandiose event or something super dressed up?
Probably a festival, right? Where it's like fun and cool is, but I didn't get with the festival, but a festival more than like a formal. I'm a bit of a mess. Festivals embrace that.
What's so crazy is people understand the old J Cub would have picked formal.
Oh, interesting. Because I was living under my mama's roof, so everything was buttoned up. But once I could be festival, it's like festival. That is my truth.
Yeah, so
So
I
did my
mean,
answer surprise you?
no, not at all, not at all. Did not surprise me. Did
None.
not surprise me. Did
None
not
are
surprise me.
surprising.
Jay Cub, thank you for coming on Mic Checka. Let everybody know where they
So
can check
fun.
out all your stuff, hit you up, all that good stuff.
You can always find me at jennifercovington.com. That is my website because I get funny style with social media. I feel like it's disturbing my spirit. I'm out. But I am at the real J Cove on Instagram. That also links with Twitter,
Did somebody
all
else
that
have
kind of
J
stuff.
Cub on there for you have to put the real J Cub?
Oh yeah, Jennifer Covington. All forms of Jennifer Covington's always taken.
Really?
And I feel, and really, the real J Cub comes from my Skype name, and so it's like
Right.
when I need to change it, I will, and then I just never have changed it. Which I think about it, but then it's like I don't care. But one day I probably will do better. Yeah. But yeah, J Cub. It's just such a. It could be anyone. It could be Coach Covington. That too
That's
taken.
true.
They're all
Yeah.
taken.
The real J Cub, like it'd be Justin Covington, the football coach at some random school in
Right.
Alabama.
Totally. And it's always something where you're like, oh man, you're not even using it right. But
Well, thank you
yes.
so much,
Thank you for
Jacob.
having me. This was
Stay on the line
fun.
for when I'm done recording. I got to tell you a
Okay.
story when we get off. And I appreciate you coming on.